Today I'd like to show you this thing. It's a magazine. No, it's a book about dinosaurs that was written in the 1960s. Now, when I first read this book, magazine thing, I have never before experienced this mixture of artistic inspiration and also this magazine is unintentionally hilarious as well. And this is all thanks to the artwork. But before we get stuck into this book, I would just like to say that it's not nice to mock other people's artwork. Unconstructive criticism is a pretty bad thing, because there's only like two possibilities that it can achieve. You're only going to stop them from improving, or if you accidentally criticizing their magnum opus, it's only going to make them feel bad anyway, and they can't improve anyway, because that's their greatest work, so what's the point of that? But that being said, I'm a weak person and a little bit of a hypocrite, so that's what I'm going to be doing now anyway. I'll try to resist, really, I will. I'm no paleo artist myself. I'm quite terrible at that. Yes, I suppose everyone's a tiny bit hypocritical if they're on a path of self-improvement. We all fall short of our ideals a little bit, don't we? Now, I haven't opened up this magazine for a whole year and looked at the contents in an attempt to get like a first-time experience. So this is clearly a magazine or book aimed at children to teach them about dinosaurs. So first we get to how dinosaurs were discovered. How did we first find out about dinosaurs? We dug them up out of the ground. That's what that says. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Here we have some dinosaur skeletons. Now, I'm not an expert on dinosaur anatomy, but they look pretty well illustrated. They look accurate. I mean, they look very believable. And so far, the illustrations in this book, I'd say, are of a pretty high standard. Now, the illustrator here, it says it's Kenyon Shannon. If I've pronounced that correctly, I'm not sure. Now, I did a bit of Googling around for Kenyon Shannon, and I could barely find a single thing about this person. So the only thing I could find out about Kenyon Shannon, the artist, is in relationship to this magazine book thing. So I almost wonder if this is this artist's only commercial work. Yep, okay, page 7. The first dinosaurs. Dialopicus. I can't pronounce dinosaur names. I'm an idiot. Anyway, now any non-expert here, including me, can immediately tell you that this is not what a Tyrannosaurus Rex looks like. Anyone who's seen Jurassic Park, you know, these dinosaurs are going to look rather strange. The good old Brontosaurus. I remember this one from my childhood. It used to be in all kinds of books and magazines. And then one day they decided that this dinosaur didn't actually exist. And then a few decades passed or something like that, and then they decided, oh wait, the Brontosaurus does exist because we've discovered a new species and we're going to call it that. So to stop confusing everyone. But now I'm just doubly confused. Here's another Tyrannosaurus Rex again. You can see its nice big long legs. It's essentially a fat lizard with human legs sticking out from each side, you know. Anyway, I'll say that again, okay. So let's read this little section here. The dinosaurs chewed and munched and thumped across the land, kings of the whole green world. And the world would have been a dinosaur heaven if it weren't for a terrible creature named the Allosaurus. So now, let's have a look at this terrible Allosaurus. Oh, that really caught me off guard again. Every time I look at this illustration, I give it like a big long period of time between each viewing. And during that period of time, my brain shrinks down the size of the legs because I'm thinking like, surely they're not that big, you know. No, they must have been smaller than that. Nah, they're not that big. And then I look at it again and say, oh no, wait, they are that big. I had no possible chance of storing the size of these legs in my brain. They were just too big to fit in my head. Oh wow. My brain just kept on taming it down. So let's overlay an Allosaurus skeleton just somewhere here so you can actually see, how it compares. What confuses me is that this artist clearly had studied skeletons earlier, but he clearly didn't have any contact with an Allosaurus skeleton. I just read this part. But we can imagine that when Allosaurus came bounding across the green and pleasant land looking for his dinner, none of the other dinosaurs are really safe. I love the bounding across the land because it really looks like it's capable. Yeah, it's probably hops like a kangaroo. This is basically the funniest illustration in the entire book. Here's the Brontosaurus again. Look at its big saggy elephant body. Brontosaurus means thunder lizard. Oh, I didn't know that. I still have so much to learn. The Brachiosaurus. Now, you know that scene in the first Jurassic Park movie? The scene where Sam Neill, the actor that plays the guy from Jurassic Park, he becomes amazed at seeing these things being able to support their own weight on dry land. And this here is the reason why. Because it was believed that these things were too heavy to support themselves. And so they probably snorkeled around on the bottom of a lake or something, which is a pretty cool idea, actually. He couldn't move around much on land. He couldn't swim in the water. It must have been a dull way to live, even for a dinosaur. Dialopicus, if I've pronounced it right. Interesting how they've made the tail here. Basically a boneless giant rubber hose. I mean, I do like drawing tails like this that can perform these kind of sharp angles. But I don't think that can actually happen in real life. Stegosaurus. Look at the plates on that thing. Wow. I don't know why, but there's something about the shading on this Stegosaurus. It makes it look like its body is like a two-dimensional shape. I think the shading on the body is a bit too flat. Camptosaurus. That one looks pretty good, actually. Here's another Allosaurus, but this one has got more tame-looking legs. Where's the first Allosaurus? Look at the difference between this Allosaurus here and this one. Interesting how he's made every theropod essentially standing extremely upright, with its tail dragging along the ground. This was actually a common thing in the 1960s. You see it in a lot of artwork. But this one here is actually more correct, except maybe if the tail was actually upright, so its body could balance better, that would look pretty good actually. I think I don't know if it's this one. Could it be this one? I remember seeing a piece in here which I was actually really impressed by. It could have been this one. I just think the shading on this just looks really good, especially in this head area here. I don't care much about really the accuracy of these animals, but just as an art piece, it looks really good. Same with this one here. Also very good. Shading is excellent. See, look at this. I'm not paying any attention to this book at all. It even tells you how to pronounce it here. Maybe I should read this book and actually learn something about dinosaurs, it's this one. This is the one that impressed me, the Iguanodon. I know the anatomy may not be 100% accurate, but I just think as an art piece this is excellent. It looks amazing. And apparently, the same person who made this also made this. I mean, what's going on, really? The Triceratops. Very nice indeed. And the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Wow. His name means King of the Tyrant Lizards. A tyrant is a cruel ruler, so he was well named. Now if you look at the rib cages here at the beginning of the book, sometimes when I'm drawing I just like to imagine the size of the lungs in my body and other organs, and how it has to support the rest of my body at a certain kind of ratio. You can see here he's actually drawn this rib cage to a particular size to support all those lungs and organs. And here with the Tyrannosaurus Rex, well, the rib cage is, I don't know if enough lungs and organs and heart and other stuff could possibly support this enormous tail and these enormous legs in a rib cage this small, and still also be capable of movement and hunting prey. Maybe this Tyrannosaurus Rex has to stay stationary 24/7. That's why he's so mad. Because his heart and lungs can't support movement. I'm getting a bit mean. Am I getting mean? Yes, I am. I'm a meanie. Now this piece here, this one here I like a great deal. It makes me smile. This one here is a bit stiff by comparison, but still not bad. Sea and air reptiles. Oh, wow. Now all of these, I think, look pretty excellent. I suppose it's a bit harder to actually muck up the anatomy of a fish. If you can draw a cylinder, you're already halfway there. But the head of this one actually looks really good. I was actually going to pronounce these, but none of them said pterodactyl. All of these illustrations are very good too. I quite like these. And here is another illustration of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, but as a skeleton, as we know it today. But not exactly as we know it today, because we wouldn't actually prop it up like this, almost, vertical, because we've finally realised they don't walk like this. It's more, their back is more, like that. But, yeah, everyone's just a product of their time, basically, and that's how he was taught. A dinosaur walked, so that's how he had to draw it. I don't feel bad showing you the entire book, because I'm pretty sure this entire publication is out of print. But what I'm really curious about is the artist that actually made this. The artist that did all of these incredible illustrations. Because I could barely find anything out about him, really. Anyway, I found this magazine actually quite impressive overall. This book is actually, it likes to call itself a book, so I will give it that. It's a book. Okay, there you go. Well, did you enjoy this? You did? Oh, well, I don't think I'll be doing it again, though. I'll be showing you my own artwork. Now, of course, it's quite easy to make a judgment on old artwork, but I can't ignore the fact that through some kind of cultural osmosis of me living in the future, that I simply have a superior understanding of how dinosaur anatomy is actually meant to look like. Through basically no effort of my own. That was a great big word salad, wasn't it? That made no sense. My brain is on the way out. It's not a good thing. No, what I am trying to say is that I should learn some humility and really put myself in Kenyon Shannon's shoes. So I absorbed as much material as I could on the internet of photos, illustrations of dinosaurs pre-1960. And then I found a photograph that was taken in the American Museum of Natural History in the year 1960. And it showed that they did actually mount their skeletons of, like a T-Rex for example, in that awkward upright position. So I used those bones as my main reference for this pencil drawing where I pretend to be someone from the year 1960, And while also looking through other photographs of old dinosaur illustrations, I came across a photograph which really surprised me because it looked almost identical to a drawing in that book of the Iguanodon. It seems that my favourite illustration in that book was actually basically copied off a statue that was made in the year around about 1910, commissioned by a German animal collector called Carl Hagenbeck for his privately owned zoo. I also found the same picture on the front of a Scientific American magazine that was from the year 1911, And the main difference I can see in this Iguanodon statue versus the illustration in the book is that Kenyon Shannon has actually twisted the tail around to make sure it would fit on the page. Anyway, while drawing this thing, this 1960s dinosaur, I was trying very hard to forget all of my modern expectations of what a dinosaur should look like, and just try and draw from the references that I had collected. And it quickly became obvious why the Allosaurus in the book looks so ridiculous. It's not just the size of the legs, it's the pelvic area as well is bizarrely proportioned. The body is more or less a cylinder which just tapers down to a tail at the end with some legs sticking out. And if you look at the photo of this T-Rex I'm using as a reference, you will see that because they have propped it up in a near vertical position, the pubis juts out at a ridiculous angle, like some kind of battle weapon. And I felt I got a glimpse into his mind as he was illustrating his Allosaurus. He was like, what do I do with this thing? Maybe he initially tried to include it, but then some art director came around the corner and said, what's this thing jutting out of the dinosaur here? We can't have that in a children's book. Get rid of it. He says, oh no, it's part of... No, I'm not happy. Oh, very well. And I suppose that's understandable. I personally fixed the look of that by wrapping it up in as much meat as I could, and then wrapping that meat around the upper thighs. That pubis does actually look like a bit of evidence that they were meant to be walking more horizontally, doesn't it? Why did they prop them up like that? Did they think their main food source was on the edge of a cliff or something? I don't know. Anyway, what I'm trying to convey in drawing this piece thing, it's probably impossible to draw a good-looking dinosaur to our modern eyes with the knowledge and references that they had in the 1960s. So the illustrator of this book, Kenyon Shannon, you have my respect. All things considered, you did a pretty good job. And you also made me smile, so that's another little added bonus. Thank you for watching, and thank you for making it this far in the video. You deserve a prize, but instead you're probably about to scratch out your eyes, and I apologise. Goodbye.